that isn't already there.
Hey, Mysterious is a great ghost type. We're live, baby.
It is. It's my favorite ghost type.
It was up there for me for a while, and then Banette existed, and then that new one from
Dragapult, Surge.
No, one of the two Mega
I'm a
Man
really
Battle
big fan of that
Network
gimmick.
looking
Yeah, Surge.
toys. Yeah.
That's just the best Gen 2 gimmick form, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Ampharos?
Yeah, Fabulous is just the best
So
one.
good, dude.
It
You know how
is,
hard
it
it is
is.
not to have marked him in every category he can possibly be in? Very. Very. Favorite dragon,
Okay,
I want to
Gen
put
3,
him.
Gen 3 has a lot of really good gimmick forms.
It
Your
does.
favorite bug? How can you not put Shuckle? You don't fuck with Shuckle.
I'm a big fan of Sceptiles, Mega. I think
Anyway,
it's,
we talk about
that's my
anime here,
I think
guys.
it's the coolest of their three. Yeah, welcome to Anime, guys.
Hey guys,
Welcome
I'm sorry.
back.
I'm gonna be eating my dinner.
So is John. I don't have much to say about things I've done. I did make a spur of the moment purchase because I had a day where my car stopped working on a hill at a turn in the middle of traffic, so I had to slam on my e-brake and then get that sorted. And so I went to my work and had the guys in the auto section check out the car battery to find out, no, the battery's good. And if the battery's good, you know what that means, baby. It's probably the alternator. So, but I was like, okay, I can't really do anything about that. If it was a battery, I could just buy a new one, swap it real quick. Alternator, I have to like take it to an actual shop, and get the problem sorted out, and that'll take time. And I can't do that till my next paycheck drops, which is tomorrow. So instead, I went, well, I just saved $100 not getting a new battery. That means I have extra money to spend, and I picked up a little thing that I have yet to play because I be a tired boy lately. But I now have my copy of Fire Emblem Engage, and I'm excited to chew into this and stare at it. And I'm so happy to start to get into this game, to play it, and then to have vastly different opinions of most other people who talk about it on the internet, because one thing I've learned is that most people have shitty takes about the Fire Emblem series, or takes that I just think are wholly misguided in like this weird space-time distortion that happened once Awakening came out. Like, Awakening came out and everybody started to view the Fire Emblem franchise in a very different, like, light, where they're like, original Fire Emblem was like this, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. You're wrong. You're actually wrong. Like, there are a couple arguments you have that are okay, but this, nope, not.
It's like, all right, guys, take off the John Lennon glasses. The rose tint doesn't need to be there.
My favorite one I was telling Mason about was the fact that I know Engage has an overworld map, and there were people who were like, we're going back to it, baby, the overworld map, back to original Fire Emblem. I went, yeah, the thing that didn't come in till Fire Emblem 8, and then again till Awakening. And I guess Shadows of Valentia did it for the remake of Gaiden. And, like, in my opinion, good. I like the Fire Emblems with overworlds. I think they're cool. I think they have nice quality of life features usually. Definitely not the back to its roots take that a lot of people seem to think it is. I just think that's very funny. So I'm excited to see this, though. I've heard a lot of people say that it plays really well and it looks really good compared to Three Houses, but its story's kind of dog.
That's what I've heard as well.
I've heard that about the past 6 Fire Emblems.
And it's like Return to Overworld is really dog. Somniel kind of sucks.
I've heard people say Awakening story isn't good. I've heard people say the Fate story isn't good. I've heard people say that Three Houses story wasn't good. And while some of those have some grounds to stand on, I don't think they're all. Every Fire Emblem story kind of has its own cliches and problems. I'm not gonna say anything about Fates because I haven't actually touched that.
They were right. They were right.
It's almost like when you sell a game 3 times after splitting it in half 3 times, it does something to its production.
It pisses people off a little bit. It really does.
Just a bit. Yeah. But that's what have you guys been up to? Because the only other thing I've done outside of that is I've been playing. Oh, I haven't updated you guys on this in a while. My progress with Pokemon Picross on my 3DS, immense. I've cleared through everything in the standard area. And then you have an alt world that you have to unlock. That's just instead of normal Picross puzzles, it's the more difficult Picross puzzles where occasionally they'll combine 2 columns or 2 rows, and it'll be like in these 2 columns or 2 rows, there is a set of like 4 squares that are all connected across the 2 rows, and you have to figure it out. And it makes the puzzles really fucking difficult. But then I also finally did enough daily grinds, since I can no longer spend money on that game, which is both a blessing and a curse. I finally have a Mega Evolved Pokemon, which you only have to do that purchase once. And then you just can do any of the Megas. So I'm getting very close to finishing that game 100%. It's just a time grind for certain things. But that's like one thing I do, because I will play Picross before I go to bed, and I will fall asleep. And the other thing I have been doing for a bit is occasionally, just because it's much easier to sit down on my computer and load up a game than it is to hook up my Switch and play it. Currently, is that I've been doing some nuzlocking of Black and White again, because I like that. I do that.
Nuzlocke fun.
Runs weren't going well. Well, that's not true. First run I booted up went to 4th member of the E4, so I can't really say they're not going well when one went literally almost the entire distance. But then immediately after that, I haven't had a run past Elise, whatever her name is, Electric Gym Leader.
Eliza.
Although my current run I have booted up, only 2 deaths. Really fine, solid deaths, in all honesty. One was a Ditto that had Levitate, which while based, it also only knew, well, it had a good TM pool, because my TMs are cracked this run, and it's Ditto. But it was like, yeah, you weren't going to last me to end game, you're a Ditto. So it was fine to lose that, and then the other Mon wasn't a big loss. So I'm 2 Mons down right before 4th badge, so that's real good. I'm feeling good about that, but that's all I've done.
I got one.
Mhm.
So, a game came out last Friday that I was very excited for that I haven't played yet. It's called Octopath Traveler 2. First game really good. I bought the collector's edition, so I wanted to show off my collector's edition. That it came in the mail fucking today, by the way. It's Wednesday. It came out on Friday. So I get this big box in the mail. It's a very nice box. Very pretty.
Ooh, very pretty.
Very pretty. It says Octopath on the back. Little sprites on the sides. Really nice.
You open it. There's no game inside.
Open it. There is actually the game inside, but
Okay.
it's buried under stuff right now. I have the game. This is a CD that comes with it, literal CD that has all the extended tracks. There's like 24 of them. Extended music. Again, this game, excellent music. Would have been my favorite music of the year back when it was released, if not for Celeste existing. Which is fair.
Oh my god, that came out the same year as... Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
So this is the art book. It's got pretty art in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You might think, oh, it's a book. You open it this way, like a book, right? You open it like a book. No, you open it this way, the long way, because they're 2 paneled artworks
Very
for
good.
every single page. Very pretty, very nice. And the reason why I got this, the main reason, is this box here. Because this contains miniature busts of all the characters in the game.
Jesus Christ, John.
Which is super cool. I think that's super cool.
I mean,
so that's why I was
yes.
like, I kind of want the collector's edition just for that.
I mean, that is very cool. I
and so,
cannot
yeah.
disagree.
And then also it had like a game in there too that I probably should open and play. At some
I
point,
can't
but
be
eh.
like upset at you money wise, because I literally had a conversation with my best friend since childhood, who I've known since kindergarten, where I asked him, "Hey, by the way, how many Funko Pops do you own?" And his response was, "Hold on, let me get the exact number."
Oh
You
no!
want to take a ballpark guess on what this number is gonna be?
750.
I only have
it's
11.
it's easily in the hundreds.
Listen, I only have 12 figurines on my desk. This will make 20.
His response was 3,400.
Jesus.
I'm not that bad. I like plushies, but I don't have that many. Like,
How?
Where does he put them?
He is currently having problems with that as we speak. He told me I'm
Right,
probably
yeah.
selling around 300-ish, and I have a bunch in storage. I tell this story, Michael's heard this story because I think it's funny. His room layout is you walk in the door, and then one wall, Funko Pops. Closet, dresser, more Funko Pops.
Pops.
His bed, above his bed, Funko Pops on shelves. Other wall, Funko Pops window, Funko Pops TV in the corner, Funko Pops. Entire rest of the wall. And me and my buddy Chance always joked with him, like, one day there will be an earthquake and you will die buried underneath your Funko Pops.
But yeah, that was my big purchase. It's not cheap. It wasn't too bad. It was like 200, I think, for everything.
Well, it's actually really not that bad. I thought that was going to be much
It
worse.
might have been 230 with the shipping, but like, well, they're like actually, I think they're little metal busts too, so like actually durable. But it's really cool. I'm excited for the game. I heard the game's really good, improved on stuff from the first game. But yeah, I really adored the first game. I was really excited when the second was announced. I popped the fuck off. I don't know if Mason was in the call with me at the time when we were watching the direct. We were watching the direct with somebody.
I was not.
And I was watching it, and I'm like, wow, this looks kind of like Octopath.
I remember you
That'd be
telling
crazy
me
if they made
this story.
Octopath 2, and then Octopath 2 comes on the screen. It's like, here's Octopath 2, and they play like the opening theme. You're like, wait a minute, I know that one.
You also really like Triangle Strategy, right?
Yeah. They're the same devs.
See, this is
I always love the thing in my Switch because it says Octopath Traveler and then Triangle Strategy in the exact same font next to each other.
I think it's in the same way that I have certain opinions that the internet would set me on fire for. I feel like you have those opinions about this studio because I know a lot of people who aren't the biggest fans of how the stories go in both Octopaths.
That's fine.
And who really don't like the mechanics of Triangle Strategy. Which is why I stand by the opinion of always play a video game before you have an opinion
always
about
play a
it.
game if you don't have an opinion
Except
about it.
some video games. Some video games you are allowed to have an opinion about by hearing about them.
I played
or
the shit out of
seeing
video
enough
games,
of
though.
them.
I have my opinion about it. They're good. They're fun. If you like basic strategy games that aren't too complex but give you that like strategy feel while also having 8-bit nostalgia for that aesthetic, you'll like the game. Is what it comes down to. If you don't like JRPGs in 8-bit style like Donkey, you're not going to enjoy the game.
You're gonna find out very quick whether you like Octopath based on how well the break mechanic clicks with you. Is my understanding.
Which break mechanic?
Like the breaking through the enemies.
Oh yeah,
Defenses.
breaking. Yeah, if you like Bravely Default, you'll like Octopath
Yeah.
probably because it's a very similar mechanic. Except they don't call it defaulting, or braving. They call it something else.
Okay. What else, John?
But outside of that, I spent a couple days with my girlfriends. That was fun. Shocker. Been playing some more League. Almost Plat 2. That's fun. By fun I mean incredibly infuriating, but you know how it is.
Yes,
That
that is League.
What else have I done? I worked a lot. We played some board games.
Yeah.
Me and Mason played a board game. That was 45 minutes to an hour. It took us
We
3 hours.
promise.
Fun game, though.
Promised.
Shout out to Austin. He's a homie.
Yeah,
Fun game,
I
though.
felt
Actually,
bad.
fun game, though.
I felt bad because I had to dip on him and Beta last night because we were playing a game, and then I had to go pick my friend up from work.
Nah, it's okay. Don't feel bad. It happens. But yeah, that's a good time. Highly recommend. What was that board game again? It wasn't like Concordia. That's what I want to call
It
it.
was
but-
Concordia, yeah.
Was it
that's what
Concordia?
was.
Okay, that is what it's called. There you go. Fun game. But then last night we played Ticket to Ride again, and we played Moonrakers. That's what it's called, I think.
Hmm.
Couple deck building strategy type games. So, well, and train game. It's kind of it though. I didn't do too much this week.
Mason, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I got Nier Automata, and I started playing that. I'm like 10 hours in. It's fun. The combat gets a little samey after a while. Especially just because like most enemies, you just kind of go, okay, I'm gonna hold down right bumper because it just infinitely shoots, and I'll occasionally hit you, and then you're just gonna die eventually. It's just what happens. Oh, you have a shield? Cool. Okay, I'll hit you 3 times, and then I'll continue shooting you. Awesome. But the story's fine. Like, it's a little weird, but I've been enjoying it. I finished season 1 of Fruits Basket. That show was really good. And went some places that I was not expecting. Very much was not expecting the how does a small child deal with a parent's suicide in like the last 3 episodes of the first season? That was interesting. I'm excited to watch season 2. Watch stuff for podcast. I watched I've been getting into a YouTube channel called Best Guy Ever, where he has at least 3 hour long lectures. One of them is on Kingdom Hearts that I'm currently halfway through. One of them is on Final Fantasy, and one of them is on One Piece, which I watched twice now, and it's 5 hours long. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
I can't say anything. I've watched a 10-hour speedrun 3 separate times.
Yeah, I've.
Is it the Sonic Adventure 2 one?
Yes.
I love how you said 10-hour speedrun and I knew exactly which one it was.
No, I've watched that specific one 3 times. It's not like I haven't watched probably about
Others.
40 to 50 hours of that speedrun at least, other than that.
Yeah.
The streamer I follow, that's their main game.
Mm-hmm. And aside from that, not much, honestly. Just watching anime, playing games. That's about it. I might be moving soon.
Mhm.
By soon, I mean within the next few months, but I might. It's looking more and more likely. I'll be moving to North Carolina. North Carolina. So,
Michael, what have you been up to?
So on like Thursday or Friday, I don't remember, one of the days, game went on sale. It's a little game you guys may have heard of. It blew up a little bit last year. It came out in 2013. You play as a cyborg samurai with a sword. And there's a really good soundtrack. It's called Metal Gear Rising: Revenge. Pretty cool game. I'm only through the first main mission, so like the second actual one, because the first one's like a 20-minute tutorial. I'm past the Mistral fight. That game's controls are certainly something.
They are a little
sometimes the parry just feels like a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're fighting Mistral and you get to the 2D section of that fight, I actually didn't know where the fuck I was supposed to hold my parry. So I just like barely parried and just brute forced my way through that entire phase.
Yeah, that's what you do.
But yeah, that game's pretty cool. And a little thing came out yesterday called Destiny 2 Lightfall.
Yeah, I knew
so
you would
yeah,
be.
Yeah, that's why I did have my shows watched for exactly when we wanted to start today, but it didn't matter because no one else did it either.
Hey, I did. I was ready tonight.
You were barely ready.
I mean, correct, but there were reasons for that.
But yeah, that's what I did all of yesterday. So I've already finished that campaign. It was only like 8 hours.
Still, dude, you have a problem. And its name is Destiny 2.
No, it's fine.
I dormed with you in college. I know that's not true.
You reminded me, Michael. While I frequent TikTok occasionally, and one of my favorite new genres of videos has been it's
President AI things.
Yeah, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Joe Rogan for some reason playing through Destiny raids, and I've somehow been getting somewhat of the story of Destiny now.
Okay, guys,
oh no, it's amazing.
I do have to play it.
Sunny Boy's a show about nothing.
Oh,
Similar to your name,
made,
it takes its premise from a 1970 Omega the Drifting Classroom, itself basically a Lord of the Flies knockoff. And like your name, it has absolutely nothing transformative to its parent story. The entire plot is just a bunch of teens getting transported to another world and developing superpowers. First of all, it's literally a generic isekai, and second, it says nothing of substance about anything that Lord of the Flies hasn't said 60 years ago. The main characters are a passive self-insert, Khan and a manic pixie dream girl that throws herself at him for no reason. The side characters are cardboard cutouts with only no personalities like Smart Guy or Scheming Guy, as if they're taken straight from the Komi-sen cast, minus the awareness that characters like that only work in gag manga.
It's just so quiet,
Gag
guys.
manga. It's
Bang,
fine.
bang.
It's
Bang,
fine.
bang, 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 bang.
But yeah. Hey guys, did you know we're an anime podcast? And there's gonna be spoilers and harsh language. And we haven't seen past episode 6 of our shows, so if you have, don't talk to us. And by that I mean if you post any spoilers in chat, you would be banned.
You will be nuked into orbit.
Yes. But hi, we are here. It is us. Spoilers and harsh language, as I've said. Power ranking. Again, I am actually going to explain my power ranking pretty much throughout the show when I talk about things, because shows are below certain shows because they did things that I had issue with. That I'm going to talk at decent length about to some degree for a couple of them. I don't really have any particular issues with anybody's lists outside of the norms.
I feel like I know exactly why you have your number 5 at number 5.
Me?
Because there's a specific thing I know. Oh, yeah, I think you're the first one, right?
Yeah.
The list, yeah. Yeah. No, I know exactly why you have that at number 5 because you have a specific pet peeve in anime.
Yes, but also I have didn't even think about that because I thought it was fine.
It is certainly a major thing throughout this episode, and I know it's one of your big pet peeves.
I feel like the thing I'll more have to talk about are my number 4 and 7 and why they are where they are. Particularly, yeah. But we'll get into that. Firstly, it's Tomo-chan. This week, two main points, not 3. We got two main stories being told. Firstly, it's Tomo's birthday. Happy birthday, Tomo, from the future. And as such, she gets gifts, like dope-ass sunglasses that will eventually become my profile picture. I just didn't have time to steal it yet. Gundo gives her reference books. Gundo and Jun both get annoyed by the fact that Tomo starts to act superior to them because she is older by a couple months. Gundo has less reason, clearly, than the rest of them because her birthday's in February and Jun's is October, so presumably, unless this looks like it's like springtime, so like, you know, and then Carol gives her an entire gold bar.
That killed me.
Which has one of my favorite lines, which is, I have more at home, but this is the only one I could carry. To which Gundo looks at her and goes, oh, I have uses for you. And Tomo gets scared. We then do another Dress Tomo Up episode. This time they go full wig and makeup. We also get a moment where Gundo is putting makeup on Tomo, and Tomo's like, man, I'm like an actual girl when I look like this. Like, I'm kind of cute. And Gundo just kind of explodes and is like, Carol, you take over. Please, I cannot look at this woman. She too hot. And then speaking of too hot, the gang wants ice cream, and they kick Tomo out in the girly attire, and make her go to the ice cream, to a convenience store 24, to grab some ice cream. She does so, and then notices that Jun happens to be here, and that all the guys are staring at her, which she thinks translates to she looks awkward. She then buys the ice cream and is like, good, gotta get out of here before Jun realizes it might be me. Jun looks at her and is like, nah, can't be. And then Tomo trips outside the store and Jun goes out to help her, and is like, thinks to himself, that's Tomo's face. However, looks at the outfit, could never be. And then he starts being really polite, which gets, again, another line I adore in this episode, which is when he picks Tomo up by lending her a hand. She goes, wow, what a soft grip. I've never felt that before from him, which I think is really funny. They then take a walk, because Tomo will die in high heels otherwise. And they stumble upon a kid's soccer game where there is a girl playing soccer with a boy, and it's very much their friend dynamic. And the two of them talk briefly, and Jun's kind of just like, I have a friend like that. What do you think happens when they grow up? And Tomo's like, they probably become a couple. And Jun's like, yeah, kind of had a feeling you were gonna say that. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really thought about how I feel about that kind of idea. And Tomo just goes, you should. and then Jun points out that her ice cream is melted, and they conclude bit. We get a bit with Carol and Gundo when Tomo comes back, which I think is really interesting, where Tomo's like, he called me pretty, but I would rather he say something else to me. And both of them interpret it as she wants to be called cute. And I do not think that's what they're getting at, or what Tomo is getting at in that scene. I feel like either she wants to hear "I love you" or she wants to hear like acknowledgement that she is very clearly a girl. And given how the second half of this episode goes, I think it's the "I love you" bit more. Second half of the episode. It's the day of the ball sports tournament, baby. Ball sports tournament. Ball sports tournament. By that they mean volleyball and dodgeball. Tomo is relegated to the boys' team because she is not allowed to play against women. We know this fact. They then absolutely destroy the older punk kids and also Senpai's team. To which then they run into a new senpai from the judo club, who is a honkin' beast of a man. Looks at Tomo and is like, "You're a frail little girl." And Tomo kind of gives Jun a nudge. He's like, "He called me a frail little girl. He recognized that I'm a girl." And then he like super hyper focuses on Jun. It's like, "You're weird. You're super strong, but like you don't do clubs. That's weird. I'm gonna kick your ass." And then Jun takes a dodgeball to the back. And we get a very anime tropish scene where it's like Tomo's gonna deal the finishing blow, and then she passes the ball between his legs, and fucking Jun's dumb friend who likes Gundo gets a tiny little tap on the back, and they win the tournament. We then get a scene where Jun then talks to said larger judo man, loses to him in multiple rounds of judo, but did take a couple off, loses in like full set count, but like does well enough that the guy's like, "Damn, you should like be proud of your performance. You were fighting me only using judo, and you do fucking karate. What's wrong with you? You're a monster." And Jun gets back on his, "I do this because I'm trying to catch up to someone who I think is stronger than me, who I think could beat you." And then him and Tomo have a little bit of a talk where she's very clearly like, "I don't know why you keep thinking that," and then just kind of walks forward, and he's like, "Nope, still think that." Again, I really like this show. I really like the way these two parts play off each other, of a Tomo being able to be girly and then Tomo being able to be Tomo, being tomboy. I think it pairs really well with each other.
Tomboy.
And the end of this ball sports tournament, we also get a Gundo line that is really interesting, which is they're walking down the hall together, and Tomo is like, "Man, this reminds me of when me and Jun were young, and I wish things could stay like this forever." On one hand, like, it'd be nice if we could always have fun and mess around and be like this, to this degree. And then Gundo has a line where she very clearly thinks to herself, and she's like, "I'm sorry, Tomo, that I do things that are selfish and purely for me," which is a really interesting line to have be delivered there. Carol continues to be Carol. I adore her. There's a real good bit during the tournament where Carol looks at Gundo and is like, "Well, one, you get the, of course we lost. It's a team with the two of us on it," and they are both in stern agreement about sports. And then Carol's like, "We've been spending so much time together," and Gundo tries to run away from her.
And she grabs her, and it's like a front animation in place.
So good.
We also have hit the point in the show where they decide characters are gonna have different hairstyles. Enjoy for a while, where we just kind of different season swap over for their hairstyles. Carol's and pigtails. Here we are. Yeah, I like Tomo as much as I've liked Tomo. Nothing's changed. Good show.
Tomboy Girls Pog show, entertaining, very funny.
I
just barely season
personally
4 still.
I personally think she looks worse in the wig.
Yes.
I dislike.
It looks really
That's
silly.
fair.
Yeah.
Because I think
Just
she
'cause her
actually
character
looks.
doesn't fit inside the wig.
Yeah, I think she looks really good with the makeup on. I think like it's nice and it actually matches really well. But I don't like the actual full outfit.
I have a reason. It's very simple. Redheads.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
Fuck, you're right.
You're not gonna see
That's
me
fair.
disagree on this take.
That's fair, Mason. That's a good point, Mason. That's a good point.
Ball sports
I think the look was missing glasses though, fake glasses.
that would give it away. She would have
Anyway, Tomo's
fallen.
good though. I think literally like you could argue almost any of our like top like 4 or so shows are probably like could go at 1 through 4. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'd be fine with any argument of like Trigun, Sugar Apple, Tomo, and then like Buddy Daddies or High Card, depending on your opinion. Like,
I think it really depends on their weeks, is how it feels like.
For
with
sure.
the exception of a certain
feels like-
show
it
that's
feels like we
kind
all
of just
kinda,
been
like-
here and being a
Yep.
problem for me because it's
Like-
too good.
Yeah.
For us, we're all just like on the same page of like, yeah, we want High Card to be just a little better than it is right now. It's still that top section, but like
We'll talk about High Card.
it's gonna be there. But
Yeah.
Tomo-chan is like also just really good. It's,
Yeah, like
it's cute.
we have our very clear top 5, and like
Tomboys are
this
good.
show very much earned its place there. It's a absolute great time every episode.
Mhm.
It's just that own show
Very.
bias and Trigun went too fucking hard this week. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
We'll
Thank
talk,
you.
we'll talk about it. Not
I
yet,
can't
because we have
wait to
something
talk
else to get
about
through
it.
first. But we have some other things to get through first. But we will talk about it. But yeah,
Someone good.
yeah. As someone who's read, I'm excited. I think I've said this before. I think it's very likely this finishes in its season run, in a season run, because I don't know how you would have to do like an OVA special otherwise. Like, is how I feel, is that there's not enough content to do 2 seasons worth, with how
Fair.
the pacing of it is. And I feel like
is the manga done?
yes, it's been done.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's like 300.
I'd assume this was something that had been going on forever.
I think
Spoilers,
it's
he found out she's a girl.
I think it's like 300 something is the count for it, which is,
It's a
a
4
panel. So it's
So
uh,
it's like 80.
yeah, I want to say that's it, but I could be wrong. I could be misremembering it. And the author might have done some more stuff after, a full main story. He might have done post stuff. This came out a while ago. It isn't a particularly new thing. Let's talk about Fire Hunter.
Okay. I thought Fire Hunter was really good this week.
Would you say
Aside
so?
from the I really had to use the screenshot
I did.
for that.
I did, because John has to see it so that when I talk... Well, and also so that when I talk about it, we know.
Yeah. That's fair. So, aside from the very glaring issue of what's in the screenshot, I legitimately think this episode was really good at Fire Hunter. We get a lot of, like, world-building stuff of, hey, there's a whale that has the memories of the dead.
This is dope.
That shit was cool.
It had faces on its like outline too, which I thought was really cool.
They and like Toko's group ends up getting to the capital. Shozo, he's gonna be blind in one eye and he'll never lift his arm above his shoulder again, but he's alive.
Yeah, you take
So,
those.
like,
You take those.
So like we take those because he got fucked up. Toko is going with Kanata at one point to go get medicine for him, and Kanata ends up going to where Koshi's family used to live, because he knows the area. And then Toko runs away from the police because fuck the police. There's also a bit about like Kaho is going to start working to help them out and stuff like that. I believe I might be misremembering.
She's gonna get herself better because she's still like not fully healthy either, and then she's gonna work to help take care of him.
Yeah. Yep. And then we cut to Koshi, who is out on a hunt with the fire hunter we met last week. We see a couple of fall beasts. It's cool. Koshi gets a real, like, actual, like, sees what fire hunters do kind of thing. We also find out that anyone that's not a fire hunter is not allowed in the woods, but that's kind of like a second note. And then we run into the other fire hunters who were at the party who have staked a man into a tree, and he was one of the spiders, and they're trying to get some sort of information out of him. We don't know exactly what.
Yeah, especially because they get pretty relevant and important new information, and they're just kind of like, that's not what we wanted, we're out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, them planning on, like, oh yeah, by the way, these people know how to not die by fire and are going to burn the capital to the ground.
But that's not important.
That's not
We
important.
wanted your exact invasion details, and if you won't spew that out, you're not worth our time, apparently.
And they fucked this guy up real bad.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Apparently not enough.
Because then he ends up after like some fall beasts are coming their way. The other fire hunter, I don't remember his name. I'm blanking on.
I don't remember.
The one that Koshi is with.
Yeah.
It's
specified
like still
he's
there.
An islander, which is interesting.
But they end up the other fire hunters run away. He is like, we need to get this guy down and like do something with him because he's going to make things worse if he's here and bleeding out. Because the blood attracts Felbeasts. And then the dude just rips himself off of the tree from the stakes that were in his hands.
Like
and
you do.
Yeah.
I believe the fire hunter cuts his fucking arm off, and Koshi gets a blood splatter in front of him.
Mm-hmm. That's the end of Koshi for the episode.
Yeah, and then Toko. I'm not gonna lie, I watched this almost a full week
episode
ago,
ends on her running from the officer and then bumping into the daughter from the estate.
She bumps into the daughter from the estate. So that's what we have to look forward to next week. But
yeah.
I mean, honestly, again, aside from the glaring issue that we have, which I fully acknowledge is bad, I think this episode was actually really good because things happen in it. We get a lot of action, we get more world building, we kind of have a sense of like, oh, this is where the plot's going to start going now. I think it was honestly a really good episode for Fire Hunter.
Here's my situation with Fire Hunter. Outside of I have been going back and forth between this is a stylistic choice, and I'm just not liking it. To me, thinking that it was a decision to try to make this look as novel-like as you can, and as such, perhaps the team was not as trained as they needed to be on animation to make everything as pretty as other shows. And so on a technical level, this show is disappointing me. On a story level, there are things that do have my interest. The spider invasion, how the kid spider is gonna, link back up into this. Actually having, having Koshi and Toko meet might make both of them far more interesting. The fact that the thing that his sister was holding in the dream where she fucking gets blown to shreds is the same thing that that rogue fire hunters use, not state fire hunters use, is interesting. The fact that we have a character who also still has ominous music playing behind him when he tells Koshi that he can't trust the noble families or like capital employed fire hunters to a degree, does not, again, really makes you tread this line of like you're not sure who you can trust on the Koshi side of things, and that you're not sure who you can trust when it comes to an attack on the capital. But also all of the like Koshi and Toko especially feel so detached from anything that seems to be the main plot right now that it's hard to be fully invested. A thing of note that caught my attention is I think this is the first mention of Akira having an illness. Is this episode where Toko gets the medicine for both him, and then the guy also mentions that Akira has it. He also has really creepy vibes around him as a doctor, which is so weird to have, again, in this scene. And then, like, I think literally the thing that gets me through this episode in particular, that makes me go, no, this is all real good, is the way the dogs are in this episode. I love dogs. They're good doggos. They act like good doggos. They do a bunch of good doggo things.
They are good dogs. They're good dogs, Brent.
Something I realized this episode is that this show really, really loves its face-to-face shots of just going from character face to character face to character face. And like it's one of those things where like once I've noticed it, and again I want something more, it's like it wears me down. So I'm in a difficult spot with Fire Hunter. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this week because I have issues with it on a technical level, and I'm not fully invested in it elsewhere. but there's also a show that I think is really boring, and I've stated before on this podcast how I feel about boring versus technical problem. So reasonably, I should probably be voting one way, but I'll talk about it when we talk about Ice Guy.
Spoilers, it's Ice Guy.
It's Ice
Shocker.
Guy. Yeah, no. Other thoughts about Fire Hunter?
I boiled my thoughts entirely down into it's just not my show. I didn't pick it.
Well, you also didn't
not
pick
a fan
it.
of it. True, I didn't pick it.
Interest in show waning.
It hasn't really been a show that's interested me from the beginning. Like I think it is a really neat world for
I
like
might
the
go
fantasy.
read the novel.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
This show I
Probably
think has
cool, actually.
I think it might be the fact that it's from a novel. It feels mentioning a novel made me think it feels, and it's a very different way. The same way that fucking what the fuck was the one that was based on a novel like last season, the romance?
Are you talking about
Bibliophile.
Oh, Bibliophile?
Because Bibliophile was also like it had like good dialogue. There was definitely something good there. It just wasn't interesting me as an anime.
Yeah, you didn't like looking at Bibliophile.
Yeah, like I will say most of the shows definitely feels like stylistic choices, but sometimes they're just not choices I agree with. There are a lot of stuff they do.
The background art is pretty. Like it does look really good. I'm not gonna sit here and tell someone it doesn't. I think the god designs are cool. The whale, the dragon we've seen. I'm still not really sold on the fell beasts. The flying squirrel felt very, very silly for one.
Yeah.
And then the goat. Again, there were animation things with that where I'm like, and the combat's just not as engaging as I want it to be. For something that I was really hooked by, and I had high hopes that it was gonna, I was gonna really like it, and I just not quite there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I said my piece on the show quite a bit. Like, I'm sort of my course, just like it's just not for me.
Yeah.
And even though I do agree that this episode was a lot better because like I felt like stuff happened and I could follow it really easily. I still just like I'm just out on the show because I just don't really get much out of it. And I think it like for me just like I wasn't in to begin with, so it's hard to like bring me back when like I didn't have much to get from the show to begin with. But I will agree that this episode's a lot better. I still think I'd rather watch chill, as I call it, than boring, than potentially interesting fantasy, I guess you could call it. Because at least one gives me serotonin sometimes and not question marks all the time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's just how I view it.
I know where I understand how your headspace works,
Yeah.
John. We've done enough of these podcasts.
Yeah.
High card time. Hello. It's a JoJo's episode. This episode is very difficult to put into words because so the gang's on a cruise, and they're on a cruise. Firstly, world lore. This is by far incredible, great part of the episode. I loved having this silly little like fairy tale-esque legend about
it felt
the cards.
really weird.
And it did. It felt like I wasn't watching High Card. Yeah, but I thought it was really cool.
Because they implemented it well. Because it certainly felt originally like, ooh, they are certainly just throwing the lore at me, and I don't like that. Then went
randomly at episode 6,
and then they turned it into a thing that actually worked.
Yeah, the cards
so
they became embodied by the cards. Really cool, really neat. Wants to be the king of cards. Great.
King of games.
King games, baby. This is just it's another One Piece, another Naruto, baby. They're just out here to be the king of games.
Another One Piece.
Gotta collect them all. Cardcaptor Sakurai, but JoJo's. We meet King. I don't remember any of the rest of his name. It's dumb. As every character's name in this show is.
Kingshot.
Yeah.
Kingshot.
Whose company is. Oh, is it okay? What the fuck's his company name? Wow Wow? Is that it? Is it fucking Wow Wow? It's something dumb. Whoa, it's something really dumb.
Well, wow.
Well, wow. I don't remember what it is.
Well, wow is the like the company behind the they do the opening for the show.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
I can't remember what his fucking company's called. But he's here to bid on God. It's so much happened that I really wasn't paying attention to the card itself.
5 of
It's a diamond because it's blue.
Oh, it's 5 of diamonds.
It's a 5 of diamonds. I know it has
They're 5 or 7.
Yeah,
I know. Saw him play the card.
I know it has the feet running on it.
It's 5. I do know that one for sure.
It has the feet running through it, which then made my brain go, this was the episode where I went, oh, every card has a special thing on its actual design that I haven't been able to fully catch all the time. Like, I obviously know the Ace of Spade one, and I know Finn's, because we've seen them enough, but, like, that's why his has I always thought his was, like, busted or something, which is why it had the gunshot. No, it's because that's what the card does. It all clicks a lot more this episode.
We don't know what
with
the Footsteps one does.
Yeah, we don't.
Stolen, right?
Which is like, no, we didn't see it, which is really cool.
This guy didn't play his card this episode, right?
The implication is Kane doesn't have a card. Is the implication because both of his assistants do, from how they were talking about them. Despite the fact that we only see the dude whose name is Only Bees. He's electricity.
Like Blitz or something.
Yeah, it's like Blitz. It's like Blitz Boltzkin or something. It's silly. He's cool. The fight's cool.
I use electric power, man.
Hi, it's a heist episode, and to make it interesting and not just immediately have it be Finn walks in and swipes the card, Finn gets seasick because they're on a cruise. I understand Michael thinking that vomit being a thing that I'm adverse to in anime. They don't show enough of it for it to matter to me in this show, and seasickness is like a thing that doesn't bother me too much.
They didn't show it a lot, but it was just like the fact that it was like a prominent thing, and they showed it at least the one time. I was like, oh, I know Sean's.
It was funny to me that they made it like rainbow vomit.
Yeah, it was very clear to me that it was like, oh, okay, we're doing this because if we don't, Finn just solos this whole mission. Got it. But I really enjoyed the heist of the episode, which is trying to replace the actual card with a fake one. We get a scene in the cabin with all the main cast together for like the first time on a mission. And again, something I'll say about another show this week. This episode was for the ladies, because oh boy, are there some scenes between the fellas, especially with Chris, that are real close. There's another show that is absolutely for the ladies this week with some of their shots. Maybe two. But yeah, they initiate plan, which is Finn is going to stumble into a guard and steal a key, which will then let them get into a room by having him slip it to VJ into a drink, and then Wendy is going to grab the drink, fucking do the craziest shit on the planet of just descend into a cabin room, walk out of it, seduce a guy, steal his car, get him distracted so that VJ can then... We now understand more about Green, which is that VJ must be touching something that he can grow plants from to do so, which is why it had to be the ground earlier. It's potato this episode, very based. And then Wendy has to further distract the guard by getting incredibly wasted with him. And then VJ has to slip the card to Chris so that he can then sneak in and swap the cards. It's an interesting, convoluted plan that boils down to King finding out about it somehow and him going, okay, my boy's gonna go stop that, and we're gonna start the bidding. And this starts to get onto Leo's nerves, and they have a bid off. At which point probably the strangest set of events happens, which is they realize that Leo's bidding, and they almost imply like they think Leo's gonna stop the bid. It's fine just to send the card out anyway. So Chris kicks the card, but then Finn runs after it for some reason, and then he winds up on stage and tumbles over Leo, so he can't get his final bid in, but it's okay because then the Klondikes steal the card anyway. And we get a funny bit at the end of the episode where they're like, haha, we all screwed up our jobs, and it really feels like Chris is about to go, oh, did we? And just reveal he did swap the card with another duplicate?
Right?
Yeah. But we don't get that.
Because he had that weird scene where like he looked at the card and went, huh, that's weird, and then like never actually swapped them, I guess?
He's so confident. Also, when they get back,
he opens the thing and then closes it without swapping the cards.
Yeah, and we see the fake, but we see the fake design. It's such a weird set of like, this episode feels so weird in that I like everything that happens in it, but I feel like it's such an odd like episode in the actual narrative story.
So, the thing that I was gonna say was this episode feels like filler.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. It feels like a filler episode.
Here are some characters, and it's like, here's a way to like, which like, to be fair, you have 52 cards. I think I said this. If you're doing stuff with all 52, you're either gonna blitz through a bunch of them, or ignore a bunch of them, or this is going to be a much longer show than 12 episodes. And if that's the case, this makes sense as like a fun little like, here's a heist episode about this card. We still don't get to know what it's about. This episode's very interesting. We then do get what I think is a very funny bit at the end of the episode where King gets mad that no one's talking about how he outbid the Pinocchles. I got it. My brain had to process it.
Yep.
At which point he
want to say Pinocchio.
Yeah, I know. At which point then he's like, "Hey, where's Blitz? I need him. I need him to get me an interview." And his secretary's like, "Oh, he's on a paid vacation." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I did let him do that." It's
his parent-teacher conferences for kids.
And he's just and then he says the most base line, which is, "Even King cannot take away the rights granted to workers. Let's go, workers' rights."
That was really
Yeah,
good.
This
was so good.
King is base as fuck, dude.
He is a joke. We say this about a character every episode, but he is literally Kakyoken.
Kakyoin.
Yeah,
He
design. He really looks like him.
Who he actually is a Nasui from part 6.
These are words.
But he is by far the most JoJo character we've gotten in this show. It's
JoJo's
crazy.
as fuck.
It is crazy. I don't think this episode is bad. I just don't think it like. It's very filler-ish, is what I'll say.
Filler's a good word for it, honestly.
But
it feels like it.
It's still high court. It still looks pretty. It's still cool. Like
It's still fun.
It's
Also,
you're ready for something more, and it just never comes.
Yeah.
It felt a little anticlimactic of an episode to have. Like, nothing got resolved in a weird way. Also feels really weird we haven't had a VJ episode yet. Like, we've had everybody else's, and we haven't done a VJ episode, and I don't know if we're gonna. It's weird.
Yeah.
This was it. He had a potato.
Potato episode.
Potato boy.
Hey, John, let's talk about Angel.
All right, so Angel this week. We're coming up on Valentine's Day, and so naturally, homie's girlfriend comes over and is like, "Listen, I know your Angel's there, but we're gonna talk about Valentine's Day, and I'm totally not gonna drop hints so that she knows what to do for you for Valentine's Day. She's totally not gonna make you chocolate for Valentine's Day. But hypothetically, you're friends with my boyfriend. What type of chocolate would he want? Blah 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 blah. Oh, but like, what kind of chocolate do you want? Just as like for information, not because someone else is right there making dinner. And so basically it's Valentine's Day. People get chocolate. Very popular boy at school gets too much chocolate. So our homeboy comes up and is like, "Hey, I do grocery shopping. I got a plastic bag in my backpack." And he hands him a plastic bag and goes,
It's so
"Nothing
funny.
personal, kid." Honestly, kind of a homie move. Gives this guy a plastic bag for all his extra chocolate he gets and leaves. Comes home. Angel's there. She makes him hot chocolate because it's Valentine's Day, so it's like chocolate, but like not, anything specific. He's like, maybe he won't notice when I make him chocolate. I think it's really embarrassed about it and leaves, but then leaves actual chocolate on the thing, which is like chocolate covered orange peels.
Yeah, the show also makes the distinct note that he thinks she's made him hot cocoa, but no, she's made him hot chocolate, which the distinction between is a very thin fucking line. Why did we do this?
Isn't it based off of like if it's like based off milk or water?
It's supposed to be like thickness and ingredients is the main thing.
Yeah.
One requires a little
water.
hot cocoa requires a little more sugar because it's cocoa. Like it's not like powdered chocolate. And like hot chocolate's supposed to be thicker, but I've never experienced true thick hot chocolate really. Besides like gourmet. So on like a personal level, I don't think this matters. It was just weird.
Mm-hmm. And then it fast forwards to White Day, where like he obviously has to reciprocate because he's a good boy, but he doesn't do chocolates because he's like, that's lame. I can't cook. And so he gets her this little bracelet that's really cute and writes a little note for it and draws a little teddy bear on it and then puts the bracelet on. And they're like, "Man, these guys are cute." And then he runs into her the next day and goes,
"You get one free do anything you want card."
And she's like, "Can you put the bracelet
like
on?"
3 cards or something.
Yes,
yeah.
But like that's a free action. You don't have to use an action for that.
We're in D&D rules now.
And then so basically the next day, she's over making dinner like a couple days later or something. He notices the bracelet's not on. She's like, "Well, I don't want to like dirty it because I want to wear it only for special occasions." Which is kind of rude, but also kind of touching, because it's like,
No, it makes perfect sense. You wouldn't wear that bracelet while cooking dinner.
Yeah.
I know, but I could have seen him taking it the wrong way as like an anime character, being like, she must not like me, and be over dramatic about it because I've seen too much anime. I was waiting for that to happen, but instead he's just like another switch. We close his door, slides down, and goes like, she's just like a young wife, and then it cuts the credits.
Yeah, we gotta talk about some stuff this episode.
Yeah.
One, there's a cut in this episode that pisses me off because it cuts from his face to a frame of also his face, but then she's in frame, and I do not like how that cut looks. It pisses me off. It's a technical thing. It's not that big of a deal. It just bothers me.
That's fair.
However, the young wife stuff. What a weird distinction that maybe it's just poor subtitling. I don't know if I don't like it. It bothers me. I don't like that line of dialogue. I don't. Why does he act this way? Why is he who he is? Like, I enjoy his character 70% of the time, and then 30% of the time he gets weird. And he doesn't need to be so weird.
I am having terrible thoughts about you.
I'll raise you this.
Stop me.
I'll raise you this. He's a high school boy.
Yes, but there are ways to phrase... Like, here's the thing, right? I hate that I'm doing this comparison. Rent-A-Girlfriend, in its first season, does the bit where it's like, the main character clearly masturbates. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. That's a perfectly fine thing to acknowledge without showing me in great detail, because please God, do I not need that? It wouldn't do anything weird like that down the line, I'm sure. But, like, this is one of those cases where it's like, there are better ways to write and explain that, like, someone feels attracted to somebody than just it being like, I am a carnivorous predator. I am here to fall prey to my carnal masculine desires. I'm like, we need to stop this. The whole, and also just this episode, I forgot she had the whole doesn't like guys touching her thing, because it hasn't been a point at all until right now again, where he's just like, you're not wearing the bracelet? Oh shit, sorry, that was weird of me. And then for him to go crawl into his room and be like, damn, she's such a young wife. And the combination of all of it, I do not like. It gives me weird feelings. Also, he's only been friends with this dude for a year? He said that, right? They've only been friends for a year?
Hey, that's kind of crazy.
Less than a year.
Hey, also, homies can be homies real fast.
They gotta stop moving his bangs out of the way. He's gotta keep the full emo bang cut. This show can't, no, that's not the problem. This show cannot stay if his hair looks like that. It's a warning.
He looks like a pretty boy.
Mason said it, these characters' foreheads are all too big.
Yes, they're too big. Because anytime they move his bangs out of the way, it's like this fucking big, and you can tell there's 2 more inches on top of it. Weird.
I don't hate this show.
Sure.
I'm still very indifferent on how I feel about their dynamic, because, like, on one hand, I think the show just needs to commit. I think it needs to commit at this point, or do they recognize, like, they can't keep beating around the bush as bad as they are with the whole, I know she doesn't think of me that way. She wouldn't have the thoughts that I have about her.
They're getting so close.
I know they are, but I think they just need to fucking commit.
I know.
I think they should have committed this episode.
It's every rom-com ever, dude. It's every romance anime ever.
I'll talk about another rom-com about how it should have fucking committed this week too. Because I think it would have been better for it. But
I agree. I know.
This one's more of like a you either need to make it clear you're not going down the just friends route, or you're going down you're going down the romance route and really start going down it, right? Like, you can't keep playing both sides of it at this point. He fucking walked into his apartment and she was already there cooking. Twice. Yes. Twice he walked into his apartment and she was there before he was.
She knows what she wants, dude.
And also just interesting for the show to do something interesting. It's just them. That's fine. But, like, again, I want more. Give me
like a double date. Come on, let them go to Disney World or something. Oh wait.
Honestly, one of the most interesting parts of this episode is where he gives the popular guy a plastic bag. Why was that interaction here? Where is this gonna go?
Back and is like, why is it? Back in the class, he's like, Thanks,
Why
man.
does it have a
And
little bit of gay undertones when he hands the guy a plastic bag? Not
Hype,
because he
man.
does it, but
Do you
because
ever
the
feel
popular
like a
guy looks at
plastic
him
bag?
like, this means more to me than any of these chocolates.
And like all the girls are just like, why is he talking to that kid? Wait, is he gay?
He only talks to one other guy. But the problem is, I'm expecting them to build that the popular guy just likes or main girl, which isn't interesting or engaging at all. So like, but for that they have to leave the apartment and bring the dynamic into the school. We're running out of holidays, so maybe. That's
Who
where
knows,
I
man.
sit on this show.
I enjoyed it though. It's a
Other
good time.
thoughts?
I just think the show's like a solid, fun time. I do. There are certainly it's not like it's a great show, but like I don't hate anything it does. It certainly is pushing this bit and just not committing to it, and that certainly is something. It very much pushes the bit this episode of like, yeah, no, she's just acting like a wife. To a point where the show has to straight up have the character say, yeah, she's like a wife. Hee XD.
A young wife.
But yeah.
I want you to
A
be
young wife
clear.
specifically.
She's not an old
Very
wife.
important.
She's not a regular
Very important.
wife. However,
She's not a
you
wife. She's a
define
young
that.
wife.
A young wife.
Just hype.
Something almost makes me. No, I'm not even gonna say that color. I'm just gonna let this move on.
Don't do it. Don't do it, please.
Not on this podcast.
Don't hurt me like that.
In the chat.
Meow.
It's
I
like my
mean-
girlfriend, guys.
I mean, my thing is, I think Angel is fine. It's entirely fine. That's my feelings on this show.
Which I think is fair. It's fine to just be fine.
It's still surprising to me that the one that I was least excited for to start off with is my favorite. out of
That's fair.
There's a reason I didn't want to say it.
That's funny. Oh, sorry, Mason. You were saying?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to shoot you dead. Gotta happen
Oh.
sometimes, though.
Look, I asked for this.
You did.
All around me are familiar faces.
Go be honest, don't even remember what I was saying. Fine, let's move on.
You thought it was you are surprised that this was the show you were expecting to be dog right away.
Yeah, and it is the one that I'm most like okay on.
Actually, kind of invested in a little
Yeah.
bit.
I wouldn't say invested.
At least interested to see where it goes.
I wouldn't say that either.
Fine. At
Hey,
least
you're asking
watching
a
on the
lot,
podcast because there's worse things.
Yes.
I forgot I used this as a screenshot. Hey guys, it's time to talk about Buddy Daddies. Michael.
Buddy Daddies this episode is adorable. Like it generally has been. The show's just adorable this episode. This episode it focuses mainly on so Miri gets home or she gets picked up from daycare and Kazuki's told, "Hey, she hit someone." Or she got into a fight and it was and kids say she hit first. And Kazuki, trying to be an overprotective dad, because he sees something like on the TV about delinquent kids or something. He's like, "Hey, who'd you hit? Why'd you do it?" And she's like, "I didn't." He's like, "I know you didn't." She's like, "I didn't." And she starts throwing a tantrum the way a kid would, because of course they would. This is one of the most well-written kids
Bullshit.
ever.
Mm.
It is exactly how a kid reacts to this. So she hates him for the next day because that's what you do. He's
What kids do.
he's being a meanie. So you go, "Ree, I don't want to talk to you." But the next day is field trip to the zoo. No parents are allowed to go. So Kazuki and Rei go anyway. But not because they want to go chaperone, but because Kazuki forgot to put Miri's lunch in her backpack because he's a dingus.
She also booked it out of the house. That's kind of on her.
Oh yeah, she zoomed because she didn't want to see Kazuki anymore because he was being meanie.
Ray Papa take to school.
Yeah, Ray Papa go crazy.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, he is a Mario Kart master.
True.
This is
So
important.
yes, the Mario Kart master is
It's
important. and
actually important.
It's great. So she goes on her trip. They go to the zoo to try to give her her lunch, but they're trying to also do it without being seen by the chaperone, like lead person from the daycare, which is very difficult until until Miri, two of her friends, and the kid she supposedly was in a fight with, get lost together as a group, walking. They're just the four of them, 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds, whatever, walking around, causing mischief. And boy, did they get into a little bit of mischief. Miri stops someone from robbing the zoo, and then gets a fake gun pulled on her because she's crazy.
She's metal as fuck.
But then Kazuki and Rei take the mascot suits and save Miri without letting her know. Blah blah blah. She gets home and is now happy. Because kids are forgetful. And also Kazuki says he's sorry, and it was adorable, and she wants to eat her lunch that he forgot. Also, like, the plot of this guy who pulls a gun on her is that he's just a guy who goes to the zoo after evading the cops from a convenience store robbery. So yeah.
He's just a hungry dude.
He's a danger.
I have one thing, and it makes me feel old that I feel this way. I feel like Kazuki was actually, like, fine in the way he was doing the bit at the beginning, because he's like, hey, I'm not saying you did it. I just want to know what happened. I want to get your side of the story. And she's just telling him nothing happened.
And we learn at the end, nothing happened.
Yeah.
So in her brain, nothing happened. She was being accused of something that literally never happened.
Yeah.
She didn't know she was in trouble.
Yeah, she didn't know because it was never mentioned to her there. She's literally just like, what do you mean? He was like being mean, so I stopped him, but that was it.
Yeah.
Because she never like actually hit him. It was kind of like a getting in the way, like lightly punched him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those things where, like, if he had said, hey, Anna told me something happened, what happened? It could have gone down better. But he didn't exactly do it the wrong way.
He did say that Miss Anna told him. He actually did say that, I think, to her.
But he still specified it was a fight,
happened.
right? And she doesn't recognize that as a fight because they fight. Right? Like we know the story at the end. Like the moral of this lesson is, hey, if you're a new parent, don't fucking listen to overdramatic protective helicopter parents on TV or get freaked out by crime stories, right? This is where my biggest critique of the episode comes in, which is the thing that holds it below which is like stops it from being top 3, and puts it where it is this week for me, which is I don't like how Kazuki is written. I think that this goes into like some of my thoughts in previous episodes. I feel like he's written poorly. I feel like it goes too hard on this bit to run for a comedy bit that I wind up disliking how he's acting most of the episode. It didn't line up with where I thought, and in the same way, it makes Rei seem almost way too reasonable. Like, it's fine for him to be a voice of reason, but he's a voice of reason to a weird point in this episode. To a point where I feel like, not that he shouldn't be the one doing it, that he shouldn't have to be doing it, more so. And I know I felt this way, God, I felt the same way with Sakugan, where I didn't like how the show was making me feel about Gagumber. Like, I didn't think it was right to portray him in a way that made me think he was an inept parent. I feel the same way about Kazuki in this episode. He's not an inept parent. It's just that I'm getting shoved interaction I don't like, and I don't really care for, and the comedy bits with him don't hit for me in the episode. I will say, I got very scared at the halfway point of this episode where they start to wander off alone, and I went, oh no, are we doing a Harambe? Is that what this episode's gonna be? Is Miri going to fall into the gorilla cage? Or Papa's gonna have to shoot a gorilla?
Miri's off on her own.
What
mischief will she get up to?
I was real worried, but let me tell you, I will give the show credit. I was fucking dying at the small-time crime offender starts to steal food from a food stand, and Miri goes, "No, it has to bing. It has to make. It has to beep it. You have to beep it. Why didn't you beep it? You can't. You had to beep it.
Hey, you gotta beep it.
And then all her friends walk over and they're like, "What's going on, Mary?" And she's like, "He didn't beep it. You have to beep it.
You have to beep the bell. That's what Daddy Kazuki said."
This was the most adorable interaction. And the first time she said, I was like, I don't know what she means. And then as soon as it clicks, I'm like, no, she's right. You do. That is how that works.
It's so adorable because again, this show is the best. Isn't the best show in terms of like anime ever, but this is the best show for showing how a kid exists at that age.
This is
like,
why
this is the most child I've ever seen in a show, including television. Like
it's like the best written child ever. This entire group of 4 children are 4 perfectly written children.
Yeah, it's great. I enjoyed the episode otherwise though. For me, is why it's at 4. It's better than High Card. I loved like the episode overall. It just still had a thing that was like, okay, I'm putting you below the top 3 because I don't like that I'm still seeing a pattern that Kazuki has to be the character written to be dumb or to do the thing that's going to cause the conflict in an episode until he can then unsolve it. Because I just don't. The way he was portrayed in the first 3 episodes, I didn't feel like that was him. Like I like Ray being the parent who doesn't get parenting stuff because why would he? He didn't have a family that parented him correctly. We don't know enough about Kazuki to feel like he should act the way he does in this episode. Also, this episode opens with Ray shirtless on a treadmill, and Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ.
Cheese and rice.
Let me tell you, if the mothers at the daycare saw that. Also, the bit where
I'll load us in the group chat on that one.
The bit that they commit to saying the Pion and Paka is wonderful, and the fact and
did anyone else get flashbacks to
Michio
with that?
Yep. Yes. And the fact that Ray slips into it even after taking it off is wonderful. That got me. That bit was good. Yeah, I liked it. I still like the show a lot. It is my favorite thing to show people parts of this show. I was watching it with people who had never seen most of the show. And so they're just watching kids have a nice little like eating a meal together, and then this thug walks up and pulls a gun on me, and they go, "What the fuck?"
That's what I said to you.
And then they're just like, "So like, is this like a gay thing, or are they like actually both her? Is she adopted?" I go, "No. They killed her father." And they all go, "I'm sorry."
No. They shot him dead.
I'm like, you really should watch this show. It's good, I promise.
It was a good time.
God.
I like Buddy Daddies.
I love just imagine, because you can pretty much show any episode of this show out of context, and it's fun. But as you get more context, the further along it gets, the funnier it is when you get the context.
Yes.
Like, no, their dad is dead. They shot him dead in cold blood in front of her. Well, she was on the ground, probably didn't see it, but like, they definitely shot the shit out of her.
And it's really funny to have my one friend be like, well, what does she do when she gets older and like she's gonna have to find out? It's like, oh no, we've already covered this bridge because she's talked about what having a dad means to her. She very clearly knows they're not her dads. Whether or not she doesn't know that they killed her actual dad, but like that. There's also something about like the future Miri and the visions that bothers me, and I can't. It's because she's too similar to something else.
Other characters,
like a persona side
character. Gyaru characters you see everywhere. Like any Gyaru character you see is just her.
But there's like a very particular one that my brain was like, "You're too much like it," and I don't like it.
Rise?
I don't think it's Rise because Rise's not quite like that.
No, Rise's not like that, but she does kind of look like Rise.
Yeah. I think it's a mixture of like Rise and I from P4.
Yeah, okay, I can see
it's
that.
like it's the two of
looks
them,
like
and
that
that's
bitch
two
that is an on story in Persona 5. That's like the other model.
Yeah,
it's Miki.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know, man.
Either way,
but
other thoughts about Buddy Daddies? Mario Kart.
Buddy Daddies is cool. Mario Kart.
Dad's the best at Mario Kart.
I love the fact that the gun's fake, but like, who the fuck pulls a fake gun on a child ever?
It's fucked up. It's fucked
Really
up that
hungry.
he just knows it's fake and fucking snaps it over his knee. If that was a real gun, that was just gonna hurt.
Well, he grabbed it and he felt, oh, this is
I
made
guess,
of
yeah.
plastic.
If you're a trained assassin, you lift that up and you go, "This ain't a real fucking
I feel
gun."
like if you're a human, you pick it up and notice it's plastic, though.
But if you're a cop, you don't.
Probably not if you don't see it.
Want to just get into the meat of things here?
Oh, let's get into the meat of things, Sean, because that was a really dangerous comment you just made.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, it's my time to shine, baby. So Trigun this week went fucking hard. So Vash and Wolfwood are. Vash is still mad at Wolfwood, and Wolfwood's mad at Vash because he thinks Vash is an idiot. And Meryl and Roberto are going to part ways with Vash and Wolfwood, because they need to get back to their headquarters, and also it is getting way too dangerous for two random ass journalists to be out here in the middle of like every firefight every other day. And also, Vash looks the same as he did 20 years ago, which is wild because he looks like he's 23. That's not okay. And Roberto is scared. Like, not scared, but like he's not okay with this. So Vash and Wolfwood are going to take this. It's the sand steamer across the Great Desert Sea or Great Sand Ocean to July. During this, they are on the boat, and a guy just shows up on the boat as they're hanging over the railing, and starts shooting at them. And Wolfwood knows who it is. And now we cut into a really beautifully animated sequence that is all 2D animation, which is weird at first, but it looks really good, with really good sound design in it, where we get all of Wolfwood's backstory, where we learn that this guy is his adoptive younger brother from an orphanage that they were both at. Wolfwood gets pulled by Knives' group to become an experiment, gets experimented on, ages like 20 years in the span of like a week, because of the drugs that they put into him. And we also find out he can't fucking die if he keeps taking these drugs. He can just take a full load of bullets and won't die, as long as he probably as long as he doesn't get shot in the head.
As long as he gets someone to put the drug in him.
Yeah. Cut back, more fighting. Wolfwood straight up tells Vash to run, does not want him to get involved in this, and doesn't want his name is Juvio, to kill Vash. Like actively is trying to get Juvio to stop trying to kill Vash. We get more of the backstory. We find out that Juvio followed after Wolfwood to this to Knives' group, just to be with him. Wolfwood tells everyone to fuck off and gets the shit beat out of him by a guy who can just be telekinetic.
Hold on. We can't say he's a guy. They name drop him.
Oh, it's Blue something.
Blue Summers. His name is Blue Summers.
I love the naming conventions of Trigun. They're great.
And the worst part is he's still threatening. His name is Blue Summers, and he's still fucking threatening.
He'll still fuck you up.
Yeah, because
he literally has blue hair and pronouns, and he's still threatening.
Well, the thing is, too, is the reason why he's threatening is because we see the first time Wolfwood tries to escape, and he gets essentially turned into a box.
He gets pretzeled.
Yeah, he gets pretzeled, and it's terrifying to watch.
Hurts to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the rest of this episode is essentially just the firefight going on. Vash tries to stop Juvio, but Juvio gets him off of him, kills a lot of guards. We're gonna get the rest of this next episode, but
whoa, you can't forget about the Neon Raiders. What the fuck are they called?
Oh yeah. It's the Blitz Lads gang or something like that. That had they had cornered Meryl and Roberto because Meryl was driving after the sand steamer because she didn't want to leave Vash.
Now they're also boarding.
Yeah, they're boarding the sand steamer now, and we'll get the rest of that next week.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Man, fuck this episode for cliffhangering.
Yeah, that's like the only bad thing
and
about this
it's
episode.
still number one, and I can't even be like, how dare they? Because I'm just like, yeah, do it. Fucking give this the time it needs to cook. I'm in. You got me. I have points to make, but I'll let other people talk first.
I will say, I think it's setting up this giant, like, this episode feels like so much happened, yet it was still a setup episode, right? Like, it's the craziest thing. Because basically everything is converging on this one place at once, right? Because you have, like, this group of bandits that's suddenly here. You have them on the ship. You have them coming back towards Vash and them. Likely captured by the bandits, of course. You have, or killed. Probably captured, though, because they're main characters. But, you have, obviously, the assassins group, right? Who's watching all this from afar, probably coordinating a lot of this, who are all apparently working under Million Knives, who probably is also going to have a party in this, if not the other assassin that's there. That's his friend, from the child labor camp, as we'll call it. So I'm not good with like specifics because I watched this today. And like it's all coming to a head here, but at the same time, you also had this action going where Vash is like fighting his friend, but also be like, "Hey, you know this guy? What is happening?" And he's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "No, I got you," and knocks him out. And then he doesn't get knocked out, but like he did get knocked out, but then he had electric spark, and he didn't get up this time yet. But you know he's going to. So it's interesting to see all this stuff going on.
I forget. The only line we get from Juvio in the entire episode is that he needs to catch up, which is assuming towards Wolfwood, but we don't know yet. But
this episode just goes immensely hard the whole time. All the action scenes we get are great. The backstory is amazing. Wolfwood was already a cool ass character, and they give him like an actual like super well done fitting backstory. It's just good. It's some good shit.
There's a couple of things I want to highlight that I think are absolutely incredible. Wolfwood, his backstory being presented like a children's book. Of course it is. He's still a child, forced to grow up. Yeah. The fact that they show him and his adopted brother both smoking, and they both have S+ drug compatibility. Well, he has S+ drug compatibility, and it clearly works well for his adopted brother too, because we know that it worked without somewhat, like, he doesn't need to take the medicine to regen. It also doesn't seem like he really has much of a brain left, or like a human functioning side of him. Surprise. They basically fully detail that Wolfwood's job is to kill failed experiments. Which again, I think builds to my previous thought last week of Vash knew that Rolo was going to die. His time was running up because he was given the order to kill him. But you don't kill something that still has time to do that could still be useful or do things, right? Unless the idea is you need to do it so that Vash doesn't die, which is also a possibility. But it really builds to the idea of, okay, Wolfwood, like the line that our bug boy delivers is, who are you gonna kill? How are you gonna get out of it? You got a bunch of Neon Raiders charging you. You have the July military. You have fucking your childhood friend, and you have Vash. Who do you shoot? You have a couple of ways to get out of here. We're testing you. We want to see if you'll do it. The fact that everybody who works under Knives has fucking crosses for guns.
Yes.
The group that, tries to stop Knives from running, that we see him kill one of, probably like a defector, that we get the really cool end show art of. They all have crosses. Even his adopted brother has like the mini SMG crosses.
I did not see that.
Yeah. It's all a really cool thematic thing that I love. The fact that Vash, we get to do the episode immediately where Vash hesitated, or as he does with killing someone, and now we have Wolfwood in this situation, and Vash immediately understands it. He immediately knows, you know this person, you're hesitating to kill. What's going on? We need to know what we're doing right now. Tell me and I'll do it. God, the animation in this episode is fucking beautiful. There's just so many things I like. Bets on the table. This doctor character, first name William. Is he a William Dafoe rip? Is that where we're going with it? Is that our bets? Is his last name gonna be something Dafoe-ish?
The villain.
William.
What? No.
William the villain.
I used to know what his name was, and I'm blanking on it. And I know it's something stupid.
Really interesting. He's called Doctor by Knives. He's called Priest by Blue Summers.
Yes.
Interesting how you have this dynamic of people. Also, Blue Summers fucking sculpture art, like shoulder piece, is so fucking cool. God, this show rocks.
The show's so just mad. Good.
I'm so mad that it's so good.
Look, I knew the second I saw anything about this show coming out that I was going to be picking it, and I'm so glad that this one worked out better for me than the last remake show that I picked.
I still think this show's really loud. I'm chopping it to just like it felt like to watch any Funimation show or any action movie that's just like, for some reason, we just aren't perfect on the audio balance. It wasn't as bad as last week, which is why I didn't dock it anything. But it's like, damn, this show is fucking loud.
Was something.
Like, this show is still fucking loud.
So, I didn't have any issues with it last week. I know why I didn't have any issues this week, and it's because I was watching it in my car on my phone through my car speakers today while I was on my lunch break. And I was fighting against the clock to watch this one today because as I started the episode, my Crunchyroll app got a little weird, and I started it with exactly 23 minutes left in my lunch break, which is, the exact amount of time that an episode takes. Yeah. So as I am finishing the episode as I'm walking into the building. So that was fun.
Oh, also, last thing I want to say, show, you can't sneak it past me. I saw what happened when Blue Summers blew up that tank on the train. They're heading towards the orphanage. You can't. You showed it. You flashed it. The path was diverted. Fuck you. Fuck you. Now I know why that location was so visible on the map. Also, really great touch. When Wolfwood gets taken away by Knives' crew, the only person not applauding in that crowd is the adult, who very clearly knows what happens to the kids who leave the orphanage or have some idea. Yeah. Which I think is, again, just the show has a lot of little things that as I watch it, I'm like, God, it's so fucking good. And now that we've gone through this meaningful conversation, let's talk about Reborn. Reborn this week. More schooling, baby. Time to do schools. We get introduced to the most Yu-Gi-Oh looking ass character I've ever seen. This instructor whose name I do not remember, who says, hey, firstly, the girls eat. We cannot skim past this. It's very important to them. There was no booba joke this week, so it has to be an eating joke.
Thank
still.
God.
Still eat. They still love to eat. God, they eat so much. Everyone notices how much they eat.
It's almost like it's just a fucking Dragon Ball reference.
Yes.
And every show where someone eats a lot is a fucking Dragon Ball reference.
We also get more of Prim and I don't remember the other one's name.
Rati,
Prim and Rati, who are just Fire Emblem characters, a very particular Fire Emblem archetype, which is we are childhood friends. There are moments that really hit, such as her being on the back of his cool sky vehicle and being like, hey, you have me, hey, which now makes my brain click and go, God, Ren and Nora are also just Fire Emblem characters in that regard. They are just that Fire Emblem character stereotype, which I know Fire Emblem isn't where that stereotype comes from, but that's the only thing I can think of when I see it.
Two Cavaliers.
Two Cavaliers.
Have we met our two Cavaliers? I don't think so.
I don't think so, technically. They do the sky stuff. They fly in the sky thing. They get Prim and Rati are better at it than they are, which causes Chris to fire a beam of energy, a beam of mana behind her. And it's like, that's not how this works. You can't do that. Clearly, you're not doing a good job of hiding this too much more anymore at this point. We get her name definitely stated if it wasn't last week of Lizette.
Yeah, Lizelot.
Lizelot, who is the chairman's daughter.
It's, oh my God, it took me just now saying it to get the joke. God damn it.
So
Thanks a lot.
Yep. As they go, They then, after they finish their little sky bike training, well, they do a running bit before the sky bike because they run to get to it, and Chris applies gravity, hi-ho, Dragon Ball reference, training under intense gravity pressure. It is crazy that anyone keeps up with her, even with her holding back. What the fuck is this instructor made out of? The group then, five of the five girls, because we don't care about the one guy, he's not important, all get selected to go into a labyrinth. They each go into a door, and this is probably the most interesting part of the episode, where we see the characters go through their own stream of consciousness as a mental test, and they're supposed to work backwards through their life, which affects Chris differently because upon hitting infancy, they then go back to the old life, which we get a little bit of a glance at a dude named Randall, who was supposed to be Chris's successor, to which Chris is like, hey, why the fuck are people not equal? Where did you go fucking wrong? Oh wait, we can't actually solve this here, can we? I'm done with this trial, I'm bored. Fires a laser into the sky, busting into the 2 rooms above her. Because I imagine the other ones are layered below her, which is why she doesn't get to go to those 2. And so she picks up Lizalette, which we learned really nothing about her besides the fact that she has wings from her crest. It also gives her wings. And she wants to be friends with Roddy, and she feels kind of bad about the shit she said about Leone. Then they find Leone. Here's an interesting thing to think about. The conflict Leone is facing in her mental mind is not at her current lifespan. It's at the time period where she is a child and her brother just becomes a holy knight. Which means whatever her family's defending them from is not the same hate that's going on at the current point in the story, which I think is an interesting thing to think about. It's a completely different issue where her brother came under fire.
Probably a Highlander.
Yeah, probably something along those lines. I think it just adds to a little bit of at least something was going on in this episode. They then both, Chris and Lizalette both then help Leone out. They come through the door. They're like, "Hey, we passed, right?" And the teacher and the principal's like, "I guess I've never seen 3 people come through the same door. Did you fuck anything up?" And they go, "No." We then find out that Roddy or Prim, I think she's Roddy, right? Or is she Prim?
Roddy's
the guy. She's Prim. We find out that Prim immediately got yeeted out of her fucking door, to no one's surprise. And then, wow, I'm blanking on her fucking name.
Which one?
The
Purple hair, blonde.
The other important female character that we originally started with. Is she Roddy?
She's Ronnie.
What's the guy's name? Why did I think that he was also an R name?
She's Ronnie. The girl is Fram, and then the guy's name is, let me see.
Is it also
Rati.
an R name?
It's Rati.
Rati, and yeah. So what?
She's Fram, I think.
So what's our other girl's name? I don't have names pulled up.
So we have Chris, Ronnie. Lisa
That's
Watts.
it. It's too close. My brain's the wire's fucked up. Ronnie comes out of the door. We're good. We're good, Mason. I now know.
Rafi, that's the one.
Well, but it's the thing. It's
Rafinia.
Yeah.
It's Rafinia.
So it's
but
Rafi.
they call her Ronnie.
Ronnie.
No, they call her Ronnie.
They call her Ronnie.
Yeah,
yes.
you're right.
So it's so weird.
Yes.
The other characters don't show up on any list.
Well, it's the same thing that Iglis's name is Chris. Because why not? But Ronnie comes out of her door, and we get absolutely jack shit about what she went through. I think that's really interesting. Whether it be because the show's low budget and it's a time save, or whether it be because there was things we aren't supposed to know in that door, I think it's very interesting. It is a choice not to show us it, nonetheless.
I mean, she didn't seem like it was bothering her at all. What was in the door,
which I think is even more interesting.
Chris was just in her flashbacks beating everything for her, like she is in real life. Also, Ronnie's actually pretty capable. Unironically, like she's actually like relatively capable when you see her do stuff, because she actually keeps up with Chris somehow, which is kind of insane.
But I think it's very interesting to have a mental test and to have someone that is meant to fuck with you, right? Like that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Like even Chris hit a point where they were like, "Okay, we're stopping this. I don't need to go farther. This
Chris
is
like, I don't need to meet the goddess. That's not fair."
It's like, yeah, it's like I know this stuff that I just went through is gonna be real easy because I just fought all those fights with my actual physical prowess. But if I'm gonna go to like goddess and like other shit, maybe I want to skip out on this. That I'm curious to what Ronnie's might have been. Then they let Leone move back in with Lizalette, and the girls play cup and ball. I don't know. They end the episode there. This episode ends on a really lighthearted note, which makes me think it's gonna do something but bad shit insane next week. That's just the thought. I stand on this place about the same place you do with Ice Guy, John, which is I like this better than other stuff because it fires neurons and is my fantasy dumb bullshit. And I recognize it's not good. I personally want to keep this around before I send other things out, though. I want to send other things out before this goes, because I like this show. I enjoy watching it. I get that its action isn't anything fancy or cool. I get that it has gags that are definitely done. I'm tired of them. I don't need to see them eat more. I get it. I agree with you all. I still like this better than I like other things, is where I stand with it.
Yeah, I think that the show is like just your generic seasonal fantasy, or slash isekai. Like it's another isekai. It's got the comedy. It's got the booba. It's got plot. I think. Yeah, it is. He gets reborn in another world.
No, it's his world. It's his world.
Okay,
we
true.
do this every week, John.
God damn it!
It's not an isekai.
He's reborn.
Yeah,
in another time.
It's a reincarnated story. It's not a. It's not a isekai.
Isekai means another world. So.
I know. To him, it's another world.
It's the same world.
I know. It's the same world. I know. Okay, but like it fine. It does all the things isekais do without being an isekai. How about that? Can we settle on that?
It's a generic power fantasy. You're right. Why?
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone, any newer thoughts you want to share about Reborn?
I like the teacher. He was funny.
We were at war with ourselves.
I have no thoughts about this show. It's funny sometimes.
Do you have potential?
Okay, John.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Guy.
And his cool female colleague. So this episode opens up with the manager of the office going, I have these tickets to Disneyland, but I'm not interested. It'd be great to take somebody there, wouldn't it? And then she shows up, and they end up getting
it fucking is just Disneyland.
Yeah, it's just Disneyland, dude. It's an amusement park, dude. Of course it's Disneyland. They have Nikki and Ninny.
Yeah, don't ask me how that didn't click till you just told me.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either, but I have a reason for that one.
Because you didn't pay attention.
No, because I watched this episode in quite literally 5 minutes.
That's fair. But basically they go to Disneyland. It's cat themed because of course it is. I mean, come on. It's cute. The other people in the office, the one girl, the fox girl's like, I'm a seasonal pass holder. You should take somebody else, not me. And meanwhile, invites the other boy to come too, because of course we got to get the whole party together at Disneyland. And we get some cold stares from our main character at the other people potentially taking his date away. So then they show up to Disneyland, and immediately our main girl spots a lost child, and then they split off from the pack, to which the other two don't notice until they're gone, and they just go, it's fine. Let's have our own. And we have the bit again where the guy's just like, are you saying you don't want to spend any time with me alone? And she goes, no, don't be ridiculous. That's crazy. Don't think about that. And he's like, oh, serious. I was worried.
We have a second bit. And it gets as old as the first one does.
I like the
second bit, same as the first.
I like it better than the first one because I like these characters better than our main.
It's funny because they took the little kid back and she's playing with the puppet, and I'm like, he should just make some snowmen, and she'd love that. And then he actually makes a snowman and she loves that. I'm like, you know what? I should have written the show.
You can write this show.
And then they try to reconnect the other two. He just ignores the call. He's like, I'm having fun on my date over here. It's fine.
They do the bit again.
They watch Nikki and Ninny dancing. They do the bit again. They go to small cat world after all. Their spooky cat ride. Because of course there's gonna be a spooky ride in there. Everyone's surprised about snow. They're in a gondola. The
Ferris wheel.
What is it? Ferris wheel, and they're at the top of this Ferris wheel, and the wind blows her hair back. And maybe you thought it wasn't, oh, it's pretty. It was, aren't they in a closed door Ferris wheel?
Thank you. And then he causes it to snow outside of it.
Which also makes it to the ground, which would melt before then because it's hot enough outside. Well, it's like fall season.
He defies the weather, apparently, except for when it's too hot.
He does cheat. But then they get matching mugs to go with their matching plates because it's cute. That's kind of it for this episode.
He almost confesses.
They do almost confess. Then they take a picture of the fireworks, which is the exact same as the previous one, but one of them has cat ears on in this one, because of the hoodie she got, the onesie she brought. And then they fall asleep on the train, and it's cute. That's about it for this episode.
John, I like the bit this episode. I like the we should get the matching mugs, but then people at the office will talk. Let them talk. That bit, good bit. That bit was funny. I like that bit. It was, however, immediately ruined by the fact that they should have fucking had him go through with the confession. I was like, God, you're gonna fucking do it. So it's close. Like, this is a show where it doesn't matter at this point, where if you just let them do it.
I'd like to point out, as I said, I watched this episode in 5 minutes. I missed nothing of it. I got all of the bits by looking frame by frame for 5 minutes, except for the gift shop bit and the Ferris wheel, which Sean told me to stop at.
Because I wanted him to see those two things.
And I got the entirety of this episode in a quarter of the time. That's not okay.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. This episode is set in
Lifetime.
I think it's fine. This episode is set in an actual location with an actual, like, coherent, like, stable timeline for an episode, and we're not bouncing all over days and places. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think this episode is generally good. It's fine. I'm not into this show. And all the critiques that I can give it are the same critiques I would give to any generic romance, workplace, rom-com show that would cross my table. That's the thing with it, right? I've been down this road before. You don't need to hear me.
That's true. I just enjoy the serotonin. I was like, I'm not here for plot anymore. I'm just like, it's cute times. That's about it.
Michael,
I accept it's not a great show. I'm just here for smile.
Yeah, like, this show does give some serotonin. Every frame that the main guy is not on screen. Well, like most of those frames.
You really don't
Every time he's on screen. No, he literally doesn't have a personality.
You like the main girl?
Yes, she
she's quirky.
Has a personality. Is there an interest? Can you name an interest that the main guy has?
I think
is it her?
It's so funny that we flip-flopped on it. Where we're like, he's at least interesting, and she's just boring. To now we're like, at least she's interesting.
No. Michael and I both held this opinion on the first week, and then
we disliked both of them originally.
No, I liked her originally because I thought it was at least someone interesting that she does that little quirky look-up thing that like. She
has a cat.
She has a thing
and
she
does. Likes cats.
I like her eyes like shake sometimes when they zoom in and hold the frame. It's funny to me.
But like I was the one who was flipped. Where I was like, I like the female in this show. I like the guy in Angel. Put them together and you get a really weird show.
Yes.
A really creepy show, actually. I think.
Yeah.
The quiet angel next cubicle gets spoiled by me often.
In high school? Yeah.
I don't think I really need to say anything. I'm the same as Sean. All of my complaints about the show are the same that I've had for the past 4 weeks. Or 3 weeks.
Hey, Michael.
So, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. See, I didn't like this episode as much as last week because we didn't get a banger-ass character like we got last week. Because that man was amazing. I adored him and his little fairy. But yeah, so this episode, we got our she is finding a new place to work because sitting out in the cold, it didn't work well. And she hears from this tavern keeps this one king who of this one area or lord of this one land or whatever really wants a sugar artisan, and it specifies artisan, not master. She's like, oh damn, I can go do this thing, and she does it. She makes a thing to get to be approved to work on the thing he wants because he wants a specific sugar structure. And we learn it's of a elf, or not elf, of a fairy that is in some way very important in his life. We don't know we don't know at all how this fairy relates to this lord or king, whatever he was exactly.
He's like a duke.
He's
But
the
yeah.
Duke of Philax.
Yeah, he's a guy. And so essentially he's like, this entire area, like this castle that he owns, is the dreariest and least safe I have ever felt watching this show. It feels like everyone there is either a ghost and dead, or this is like some I can't trying to think of another thing where this happens, but it's just like one of those RPG things where there's like something that's just draining all the happiness and color out of somewhere.
Hi, Ruby.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of like the Ruby with those guys. I think Thousand Year Door kind of does this with the shadow stuff during Wild West shenanigans, but I might be getting that backwards. But yeah, we get all this, and then we learn there's another person who was approved to work on it, and who could it be? None other than Jonas. The fuck?
New fit.
He got a new fit. He also has friends who are the worst.
Are they really his friends, though?
I don't know. They're part of the same school as him, and they're also very bad at sugar artists and stuff, so they're not...
Yeah, they're worse than
irrelevant now.
Apparently they're worse than Jonas. Which is
impressive. I mean, Jonas wasn't objectively bad.
We don't know how good Jonas is. He hasn't done art particularly.
We just know Jonas could not imitate...
We did watch him make one thing. He was him and her both made stuff for the Sugar Master in that one episode at the bar.
The Viscount.
Yeah, his was like fine.
Yeah, he was like, yours is accurate, but like it has no like spirit to it. And she's like, yours is really good, but you clearly copied your mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, she makes her first attempt to like actually replicate the fairy. Keep saying elf because they have elf ears. That's how they denote the fairies and humans in this world, other than the wings. And he's like, it's good. Not good enough. Get better. Move to the cool person tower. Where Jonas had already gone because he had already presented a full thing. And I think that's generally where it ends. Just you two are gonna have to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
And yeah. Into next episode where they're gonna do more shit. Also, Shao threatens to kill Jonas like twice.
It's wonderful.
Deserved. And also, being a shoujo, Shao is the biggest fucking Tumblr sexy man of all time.
Chad.
Anne's like, oh no, I got blue dye on my face. Gotta go wash my face. Shao, I'll wipe it off for you. Does it sensually?
The show is made for the ladies and so it's fellas.
I really enjoy the bit of him, like, I don't remember exactly what he says. He's just like, yeah, what did you say? Nothing.
Sword.
What did you say?
I'm sorry. I was asking what you were saying about my
Scarecrow
owner.
It's a very SAO abridged kind of thing.
My artisan is outstanding in her field.
It's a very SAO abridged kind of moment where it's just like, you said something? Summon sword. You want to fuck around? Find out. Get owned? I thought so.
Hey,
there's a lot
of... you from all those animals? I could do it again.
I think what does wonders this episode for me is the political intrigue. And while I say that like a joke, I am very interested in this subplot about this duke who used to be part of like the three families that made up the noble lineage, and then one caused a rebellion, and then this one helped stop the rebellion, and the guy in charge still went, no, get fucked. To which then he brings up the fact that, like, he could potentially start a rebellion. Like, he is the last possible idea that could rebel against the king. And to have that sitting on the table with the fact that he's also looking for a sugar artisan, there's a lot of weird stuff that's just here that I'm very interested in what they're gonna do with. Plus, you had the little bit where Mithril Lidpod is like, yeah, Shell grew up in a castle. He told me that. And it's like, oh, neat. I'm not surprised by this fact. In fact, it only adds to more things that my brain has already thought about Liz. And then Anne gets jealous about it. It's actually kind of cute. They actually do a really good job of that, where she's like, I don't even fucking know her and I'm getting jealous. What the fuck? What's wrong with me? Let me get this blue off my face. This show, I think, should feel creepier at times than it does. And yet somehow, Angel beats it out in almost every way.
Yeah.
Like,
Everything
it
is
should
so
feel
shiny and happy and pretty, and you're just like, this is gonna be fine.
It should feel weird to me that he is probably really old and she is just recently a young adult. Yet somehow there's this like weird boundary thing this show does that makes it feel totally fine. Crazy.
I think it's because it feels every time that he does it like he's just fucking with her.
maybe to a degree, yeah.
Like he never seems to feel like he has any real intentions by it other than I just want to mess with her.
Yeah, like he really is just like having a fun time. He's like, I just enjoy my life right now where it is at, and I'm not enjoying much of my life right now where it's been at. So it's interesting. I also wonder, like, he definitely 238 million% knows who that fairy is in that picture. Like, he has some very solemn looks after walking around the castle that you're like, he either recognizes the castle for one, or two, knows that person in the picture and why something is super wrong about what they're doing right here. Like, something is super fucky.
It's really odd, right? Like Michael said, it has that vibe to it. You're like, oh yeah, something's definitely weird here. But like, I don't like they say it. This Duke's father, super nice guy. Him, equally nice, like equally good-hearted person. The fact that they're the potential family that could now do another rebellion is interesting to throw into that docket, right? The nice people, the ones who seem very caring about fairies, who have no who want to see welcoming, like the way his eyes light up when he looks.
Yeah.
For like the second his eyes get life back, you're like, oh, I want you to be a good person because I like you when you're happy. I would love for this entire city to look better. It is weird to have the one servant and the one servant only who walks around with a large ring of keys and is just like, you now are here. Deal with it. Don't fuck around. If you hurt my master, I'm going to stab you. He's a good boy. It's so like it. I'm ready for like Michael said, for it to be like, yeah, the king has placed a secret spell over the city that sucks all the life out of it. And the only way to break it is a perfect sugar art replication of this fairy. Feels real dumb.
Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, good man. I just wanted to stab me.
Holy shit. I was trying so hard. To get a wheel, boys.
Michael,
I really
Michael,
was.
brother.
I got
brother?
news.
Brother.
I've just been doing one thing these past like 3 weeks.
Full results are in. Full saves. Tomo, High Card, Buddy Daddies, Trigun, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. 1 sleigh, Angel Next Door. 2 sleighs, Reborn, Fire Hunter. 3 sleighs, Ice Guy.
Ding dong, it's finally gone. I'm sorry, John.
That's okay.
It's okay, Mason. You're going next. I see almost no way it does it unless we wheel Fire Hunter and Reborn. I see no.
I'm fine with that. I just would not have felt good about this season if Fire Hunter went before Ice Guy. Personally,
I would have felt great about it.
I know
it would
you
have been
would.
A beautiful season.
I know you would.
You would have. I gotta get it.
I don't care.
Back.
I wanted to make it the whatchamacallit of the season.
I want to get better. I want to, yeah.
The back arrow.
I want to make as much. I want to give it as much competition before Reborn goes.
Oh, by the way, guys, you should watch. You should guys catch up on Oshinoko. I need to talk to someone about Oshinoko besides Amber. I need to talk to someone else about it. Like it's.
No,
it's
I
peak
think
again,
I
guys.
think we
Peak.
should I think we should doom Amber for that to that role where we just
Please,
make
someone
her
catch up
only
with
be.
Oshinoko, please.
Uh,
Sean, did you like my name this week? By the way,
very good. Names were good this week.
What?
Hey everybody,
Banger.
that is it. Ice Guy, it's in here somewhere. It was easier to go the other way. Ice Guy, it really was easier to go the other way. It was literally the image right before where I was. Ice Guy is gone. That makes me and Mason happy. And don't worry, there's gonna be people who are gonna be happy on continuous weeks of this podcast coming up because we are removing the stuff that is very clearly for everybody bottom of the pack. Just not quite. You know, there are a couple. I think there's gonna be one toss-up, which is does Angel do anything horrible that gets it immediately voted out before something else in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But we will see you sometime next week. We'll see. We have to make it work. With that though, we're done before 1 a.m. Let's go, gang.
Let's go.
Blessed be.
I enjoy it. We have 3 weeks before the shit show begins.
Yes.
What it feels like.
Where we have to shoot something, and who knows what the fuck the slays are going to be.
Yeah, that's when people are gonna start fucking getting angry. It's probably me. Because like one of my issues is probably gonna be one of the ones on the docket there. Because I have 2 in that general top 5.
So do I. And I think you and I both know probably. Well, actually, I don't know which of yours would go first, Michael. We're at an odd spot with that. I know at the current point which of mine's gonna go probably. But who knows? It could get bad shit insane.
I mean, I know which of my 2 I think is the better show between them, but who knows?
But we will talk to you all next time. Maybe I will have played a video game. I doubt it. Maybe.
Maybe I'll finish that video game and then also start the one I just bought and was waiting for it.
I
Maybe
doubt
I'll
it.
also finish a video game. We'll see.
We doubt it. Michael will probably finish a game.
Maybe.
He'll find something. But we'll talk to you all later.